welcome to the deep dive, but this week it's not with Nick or Dave. You're here with me, Sarah Roberts, the youth minister here at Hickory Flat, and
Kevin Scott.
Woohoo, from Goshen Homes. We
That's
are
right.
very excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It was fun to have you on Sunday, too.
Yes, it's always fun to talk about foster care, especially with a church partner like you guys.
100%. So on Sunday, if you missed it, we did get to have Foster Care Sunday. We talked about different opportunities out in the community that people can serve either the foster kiddos or they can serve foster families. So I know this is a field that you and I both feel very strongly and passionately about.
Yes, absolutely.
What about working in foster care matters to you?
Oh, man. For me, really it's about finding something that's really, one of our sayings is peace and purpose. And so a lot of times, especially for me, I've had peace in my life but didn't have purpose, or had purpose but not peace. And so one was kind of always fleeting. And so when it comes to working with foster care and working with families who are interested in doing this great work, it brings me a lot of peace, but it also brings a lot of purpose. And so I think probably my favorite thing working in a foster care world is just being able to connect families with what they feel that, God has called them to do.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but, and I know we're going to touch on this, but the process can be a little bit daunting. And so just being put into a position where I can walk families through the entire process, hand in hand, one-on-one, and really keep them excited about the process through the process.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my main goal, but it's also the most fun thing I get to do too, aside from obviously working with churches and getting to come on Sunday and talk about all the great things going on at Goshen is also very fun.
Yeah.
But being able to kind of align that peace and purpose for families and walk them through that process is really great.
It is fun to be the person that gets to look at you and be like, you're called to do this. Let me help you get there.
Yes.
And it's fun when you get to work with a place like Goshen where you guys say, you don't actually have to do it alone.
Right.
Let me help you through it. And then
Right.
the whole way you get to pass them off to someone else that's going to support them in the next step and someone else that supports them in the next step. So they really don't have to do it by themselves.
That's right. It's very unique in that sense that everybody who is doing their job at Goshen is pretty uniquely positioned to be able to do their job to the maximum capacity, and even being able to answer those one-on-one questions and things like that.
Yeah, it's really thoughtful for our families that come in.
Yes.
So on Sunday, we kind of threw out some statistics just to give an idea for everybody that was there of what the actual foster care system looks like here in the state, what the numbers actually are. So as of December of 2024, so just a few months ago, the number of children that were in foster care here in the state of Georgia was 11,840. So in the little over a month that we've had since then, we've, maybe gone up, maybe gone down. But essentially, the number that we pulled from December would be enough kids to fill the Fox Theater 2.5 times.
That's right.
Which is insane because you see the number and you think that's not a lot of kids compared to how many people are in the state. But when you kind of put it in perspective of how many humans that actually is that just need a safe place to go, that's insane.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
And to give context for those who might not know, if there comes a child who comes into care and there's legitimately not a home for them to go to, it's not just there's not one in their county, but there's not a home they can find. These kids typically end up spending the night at DFAC's offices, or they'll be going into hotels where they just have staff that are filtering through with them until we can find them a home.
Right.
And on average, we're seeing 30 to 70 kids any given night in a hotel in the state as a whole, which is a pretty low number compared to what it used to be.
True.
But that's still truly disappointing that we're in a space where there's not enough homes for these kids.
Yeah. And when you think about that, those are DFACS workers that are required and forced to end up doing the hoteling and things like that. And those guys already have an overloaded case schedule.
100%.
And so when you have kids and you're in that situation, those workers have to be either in the hotel or in the office along with another worker and that child.
Yeah.
And so that's just taking a lot of time and energy away from even more kids that they have on their caseload. And so it's just exponentially causes more and more difficulty having a surplus of children.
Yeah. I know you talked a little bit on Sunday about the Cherokee County shortage. Can you kind of reshare those numbers and what that looks like here in our county for us?
Yeah, in Cherokee County specifically, there's about 160 registered foster homes, which may sound like a great number.
It's so
and
small.
It is a good
So
number.
small.
It's a great number compared to some other counties. However, we average about 350 kids in care in Cherokee County. Coming off of COVID, it was all the way up to about 520. And that's the worst that Cherokee has ever seen. And so coming back down to to 350, that's fantastic. But everything can, like you keep saying, everything can change on the flip of a dime.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's about 350 kids in foster care in Cherokee County and only 160 registered foster homes. And so what that means is, those are homes that are currently working. And so, the issue does not stop. So unfortunately, there will be a lot of new placements in Cherokee County this year. And so when you have numbers like that, that means on average about 60 to 70% of new placements in this county will have to go to another county in order to find a placement. And that's why siblings are separated almost immediately. That's another reason why kids that are experiencing foster care likely are behind in school, as well as a lot of other things, is because they're constantly having to switch from county to county, from school to school. It just makes everything more difficult, from the bio parents working a case plan to get their children back, the children trying to be successful in school, and even the foster parents trying to partnership parent with those bio families. Sometimes they're 3 to 4 hours away.
Yeah.
And if you don't have, and you're not working with an agency who is prepared to help those bio families, make visitation when they need to, when they're doing the things that they ought to be doing. You may remember that we had, at Goshen, we had a bio dad that we were given a gas card to monthly so that he could make it to visitation, because he was doing everything that he ought to be doing. It was just the system that was making it a little bit more difficult. And so, it was cool to partner with him as well while he worked to get his children back.
Yeah. And in addition to all of that, the moving of a county, when you think about a kid that's coming into care, they're having to be taken from everything that they know already, which is trauma there. And then to be moved from anything and anywhere that you know into a new county and a new school, that felt safety is gone, which just slows down that healing process so much more. So the more that we can do to be able to keep kids in a county, in a space where they're familiar, they kind of have some understanding, they have some baseline of people in their lives, it just means that we need some more homes in Cherokee County. So
That's right.
Can you walk us through just a little bit of the process to become a foster parent? What does that look like? How does that work?
Yeah, so it generally will look the same no matter where you go. Now, certain agencies make it a little bit easier, some partner with you a little bit more, some you're a little more on your own. For Goshen Valley specifically, it typically starts with us getting your email somehow, whether that might be jumping on our website, checking out the foster parent guide, or just submitting an interest form saying, hey, I'd like to talk to somebody. From there, what we do is we have what we call an informational call. It's like a 20 to 30 minute phone call where we just chat a little bit about what's on your heart, what you're thinking about doing, maybe some things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
There's
Those are important ones too. What you want to do and what you don't want to do.
Absolutely. There's lots of things to discuss. So we just kind of talk about some of those things. And then from there, that's when we invite that family or individual to come in for a one-on-one orientation. I know a lot of places that, they kind of have set orientations where it's like, all right, everybody come on in. And what we have found is it's a little more productive to have one-on-one orientations where families feel a little bit more comfortable. They can bring their children with them, and they can all ask the questions that they all have. Foster moms have very different concerns than foster dads. Some of the difficult questions that we talk about is some of those insecurities that might be around fostering and parenting kids that you've never been around or have much experience with, such as teenagers, boys or girls. Maybe you only have all boys or girls. And so during that orientation, we kind of go through the ins and outs. And then from there, we don't like to ask for an answer right away, but sometimes we have to. But from there, you would register for the training. Goshen has training once a quarter, so 4 classes a year, and it lasts about 6 to 8 weeks. It kind of fluctuates, and then from there, you're good to go. And inside of the training, the other thing you will do is a home study. And so the home study is kind of the more invasive side of things. You do have to do a home study no matter where you go, But the thing to remember is if you're doing the home study, you're already at the point where you've passed the background checks and all of that. We're there to help you get licensed. Like you said, we need more homes. And so if you've already gotten to that point, a lot of people are mostly stressed out about the home study. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if you're already at that point, we're there working with you to help you finish the race. We're not there to be like, nope, can't have that, can't do that.
Yep.
We're there to help you prepare your home, not grade you on whether or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so from there, you're more or less fostering. And I always like to kind of tell people that one of the benefits of working with a private agency is that, they call us with the children, and so we either have a home for the children or we do not. Which means the people who are fostering with Goshen, we're not put in a position where we have to call them and beg them to take kids or
Right.
ask them to, take on a placement that they're not prepared for or anything like that. We only take the kids that our homes are prepared for and have on their preference sheet. And we do that mostly because, that's what they're prepared for and that's what
Yeah.
we've trained them to do. And so more specifically, Goshen licensed, trains, and equips homes to keep sibling groups together. So you do have to sign up for at least 2 to be a Goshen Homes foster home, but that means you're also keeping a sibling group intact and keeping that bond strong and alive.
Right.
But yeah, so the overall process is info call, orientation, and then you sign up for the training. And then all in all, it's about 8 weeks. And so from the time that you start training to the time that you will have kids in your home at Goshen, it's about an average of 3.5 to 4 months, which is an actually very,
Really
very
good
quick.
time frame.
Yes, it's a very
Compared to
fast.
some, yeah.
Yes, that's a very fast licensing period.
Yeah.
We've right before COVID, or kind of right in the middle of COVID, we were seeing 19 months
Yeah.
at some agencies, and so proud to say that that we collectively are seeing all of those times go back down from defects to private agency across the board.
Yeah.
Everyone's working very hard
It's
on
a
that.
really solid time frame, though.
Yeah.
It's well done.
We work hard to keep it that way. Don't tell home licensing because they'll be stressed out that I said that number. But yeah, no, that's about average. Even with the new training that rolled out, it's about 3.5 to 4 months to the time kids are in your home.
So some people that just heard what you said about specifically being for siblings are probably sitting there thinking they separate siblings in care. And yes, unfortunately, kiddos do get separated
They have
from their
to.
siblings for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
There are some times that it's just better for them based on the type of trauma, the type of abuse that they've endured. Like, it's
Right.
just a better fit for them to be able to heal. But then sometimes it happens because there's too many of them and there aren't homes open to take them all.
Yeah.
So what are the benefits of being a home that takes in 2 or more siblings? Like, why is that so
Yeah.
important and needed?
Well, first and foremost, I always tell everyone that whether you're fostering siblings or not, there's a pretty good, I don't know the exact percentage, I would say probably 70 to 80% though, will be a sibling group, whether you have both siblings or not. So what that means is if you do a single and that placement is a part of a sibling group, the other side of that is another case manager, another home, 2
Yeah.
foster homes trying to create bonds between sibling groups as well as trying to meet with the parents. And so it's, again, it's
a
just
lot.
exponentially more
It's a
difficult.
lot.
Aside from that, I always like to tell people to kind of put themselves in their shoes. Let's say, do you have any brothers or sisters? And, can you imagine being separated from your mom or dad? Because most of these kids don't fully understand that their situation is not normal.
Right.
Or they might know it's not normal, but they might not understand why. And so the same day that they're finding out they're not going home to mom and dad, they find out they aren't going to the same home as brother and sister. And so what a lot of our foster families experience, because a lot of our homes have fostered multiple places, multiple states, and what they have found with the sibling model is that, kind of the initial placement goes a little bit more smoothly because the children who are in a new home and in a new environment have a little bit of, familiarity with
Yeah.
their sibling being there. And, I'll tell you what, having an older sibling to kind of win over the younger sibling with trust is very helpful.
Yes, it is.
It's very helpful.
100% it is.
But aside from that, those are 2 great, great reasons. But also, we have a very different model. We have full wraparound services. And so the fact that we have services to also help the bio families, it keeps things a little bit more clean and, and just easier on them as well when, they're placed into the same home.
Yeah.
And so that's what a lot of people forget is you have kids experiencing trauma, but you also likely have a parent who is experiencing trauma and trying to get back on their feet and trying to figure out, what is the path to make this happen.
Yeah.
And so I see overall the system works a lot smoother and a little bit more like it's actually supposed to, because there's not all these exterior conflicts inside of the case plan.
Yeah.
Because the family's still together the most that they can be. And like you said, there is always some reasons that children might need to be separated after they've come into care, or just kind of depending on the situation that they're coming from. But with that said, is we have had 2 sibling groups of 11 at Goshen now, and the first one we were able to get placed all in the same home, and then the second one was 2 separate homes. But that was better for them too.
That was quite an adventure too.
Yeah, I came right at the end of that, but everybody still talks about it a lot. I think that is our biggest sibling group we've ever had.
Yeah.
But again, it's just, it's a perfect example of Goshen just kind of being like, okay, this is what we got. Let's roll with it. Let's figure out how we can serve these kids first and foremost. Let's make sure our foster parents are going to be supported and well taken care of. And then, great, where's the bio family and how can we get them across the finish line?
So for families that take on a sibling group, it's a lot to go from a house of maybe 2 or 4 to suddenly a house of like 6 or 10. What are some other ways that people who maybe aren't called to necessarily be a foster parent can be invested, involved, and supportive of the families that are taking the kiddos in?
Yeah, that's been one of the coolest parts about my job too, is just helping identify and create as many ways to partner with people inside of the foster care system. And so, of course, we have our full-time, part-time fostering opportunities, but we also have all kinds of resource family opportunities. And so a resource family might be someone who gets linked up with a primary family and, drops a meal off once a month, every other week, whatever they kind of, whatever they're geared to do. You also, if a family that you know and are very close to becomes a foster family, you can babysit and do something called, I know the acronyms are ridiculous, but it's called RPPS, and that just allows someone who's not a licensed foster parent to take care of children based on someone else's license for up to 72 hours. And so we utilize that a lot with churches as well, because, not everybody has family that's close, but a lot of our families in churches have that auntie or that uncle that's not, blood related. And so a lot of our families are able to kind of utilize support that way. So you can be a supportive family in that sense. But then we also have numerous volunteer opportunities, from you can come running a 5K to working at the ranch on second Saturdays, which you can sign up for on the website. And then the other way I would say is the main way I would say to partner with the partner inside of foster care, if you're not called to foster yourself, is to find a foster family and not ask them what they need, but just to start giving them things, gift cards, all of that kind of
Bring
stuff.
a dinner.
Yeah, because I find it's a lot, this is a horrible example, but I find it's kind of like a grieving family is not going to tell you what they need. They're not going to ask for help. It's just about showing up and being there. And one of the other cool ways that I've kind of seen come up recently is that there's a really, really cool nonprofit called Georgia Kids Belong, which you may know about.
I do. I know all about them.
And so they have made my life very easy speaking at churches, because not everybody is called to foster. Not everybody can volunteer. Not everybody can do this. Not everybody can do that. But there is something for someone inside of foster care. Everybody can do something now. Even the business community now. There's a lot of churches I talk to where, people are like, I run a business, I can't do it. I don't have, and Georgia Kids Belong now they have an app where you can become foster friendly.
Yep.
You can register your business to even do that, just to say, hey, we're going to give a discount. April and May is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and then there's Foster Care Awareness Month. And we're actually looking for as many business partners as possible to help us kind of spread awareness around that month, saying like, hey, this is something that Cherokee County wants to do, is we're going to take care of Cherokee County. Yeah. And so, there's absolutely lots of ways. And then a lot of churches have started partnering with us. And, we do, I wouldn't say monthly drives, but, we have canned goods, there's food pantries at Goshen, mentorship. I mean, really, I mean, the sky's the limit, especially
Yeah.
when you get out to the ranch and you start seeing, like, oh, okay, I'm good at that. Do you guys have somebody that fixes the tractors? And we say, nope, just you.
It'll be my job.
Yeah, so we get a lot of volunteers that have niche skills that we utilize as well. But that's the other part of my job is, like, I talk to everybody, and so many people are like, hey, I can do something, but I can't foster. And so get creative, give me a call, and let's figure out what you can do, and we'll get you hooked up to do it.
Well, thank you for the plug for Georgia Kids Belong.
Yeah,
Because they
absolutely.
really are a phenomenal organization.
They
And
are.
people, like you said, can step in as a business just to say, we're here to support foster families, however that looks, whether you're a plumber and you say, I'm willing to come out and fix a toilet just because it's broken, or if you have a store and you're like, I'd love to give you like free ice cream for your kid. Like anything works to be able to show some additional love to these families. But there's a lot of organizations out there that people can plug in with and help. But Goshen is a big one that the church is now supporting, and we're really excited to be doing so. And part of that is on February the 26th. We will be having an info meeting with you here at the church in the sanctuary. There will be food.
There will be food.
So you should come for food.
Lots of food.
And this isn't just for if you want to be a foster parent. This is if you want to just find out how you can get involved, what your options are.
Yeah.
And it's not a commitment in any way, shape, or form. It's just fact finding. It's information gathering and a really good chance to come and ask questions, no matter how dumb they might be, or you might think they are. They probably really aren't that bad. But to come and ask them and get answers to find out what you want to find out to be able to get plugged in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, we're excited for that day. It's something that we like to do at churches a lot just because there is so many people that say, I can do something, but I don't know what.
Yeah.
How can I get plugged in? And so on that day, we'll be talking about everything from full-time fostering, part-time fostering, volunteering, getting your business involved, and everything in between.
All the fun stuff.
Yes, all the good things.
So you should come out on February the 26th from 6 to 7 in the sanctuary, Hickory Flat Methodist Church. And we'll be here having a great time just learning about how we can better get plugged in, how we can better support families that are in our area, all the good things.
Absolutely. See you guys there.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate having you on today, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, and we'll see you on the 26th.
26, see you there.
Woo.